she has an unusual background, but you can't. I'm not sure whether that explains it. I mean, her father was a Church of England vicar. Both her father and her mother died when she was very young, relatively young. Her father was killed in a car crash, and her mother, I think, got cancer. So they were both dead when she was in her 20s, and she was an only child. And I think all of those things together seem to have made her a very introverted person who does not have very many friends, which is quite unusual in a leading politician. She does not...
No networking person.
She doesn't network around the House of Commons. She's a woman in what is still a man's world, which I think she felt. She wouldn't go and spend a lot of time drinking in the bars in the House of Commons. That's the way people have put it to me. And a lot of people, and she has no children, so what, but it's all part of, she's a very inward-looking life with her husband Philip, that's it. Church-going, lives a very ordinary, conventional life, not at all like David Cameron, not a very sort of outgoing, talking person, talks, in my experience, remarkably little to the press. Cameron talked to the press all the time, Blair even more. But she doesn't really like journalists, so she tries to avoid them. She's never come to talk to us. Traditionally, we have had an interview with the Prime Minister before every election. We always have done. But in 2017, they just said no, she wouldn't do it. And that's the nature of it. And many people, even people who were at university with her, like Damien Green, who was one of her best friends, if you ask Damien Green what's she like, he will say, I don't really know her. And he was at university with her sort of 45 years ago, but he still says he doesn't really know her.
Because I can't decide, is she a humble person or an arrogant person? Because her sense of duty is
I think she's quite insecure,
marvelous.
actually. I would say she's probably she's a little bit of both, but
Okay.
she's the opposite of Cameron. Cameron thinks he's brilliant and he could do anything. I think she's quite insecure, and that's why she's quite rattled. She doesn't like doing interviews. The press conference is fine, but it's always very stilted, and it's usually quite short. And she only takes questions from people she knows. She's the BBC, ITV. She goes through the same people, and I think that's all about insecurity. But on the other hand, she appears to think she's a very dutiful person, and she's very hardworking. And once she's decided the right way to go, she's totally inflexible, which is the opposite to Cameron. Cameron would just change completely and say, oh well, maybe I've got that wrong, I'll do something else. She has from the beginning been very rigid about her approach to Brexit.